It's interesting that one of the major purposes of going through this dark night of the soul is to put you through or to bring up all the traumas you need to heal in a way that we've been avoiding or suppressing or putting to, allocating to another one day. One day I'll get to that.
Yeah.
And what's even more fascinating is that it does it whilst it's made you arguably your weakest ever because you're being ripped raw during this dark night.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, yes, setting aside your traumas, it will resurface, I'll tell you that. Yes.
Well, it's almost compelling you in this dark night of the soul to face the traumas and deal with them.
Yes. And take your time with it because some things you might not be aware of, and just it looks more deeper inside yourself, or when you encounter certain situations with friends or family, you something might appear like, or you might have like one of those moments and realize, okay, this is why this has happened, or
Hmm,
certain things, certain behaviors, certain actions, and then you find the root cause of it.
correct. Welcome to the Awakening Table. We are Calliope and Petros, and we created this channel as a means to share our experience of going through the dark night of the soul, currently and in real time, I guess. And in doing this through an open, raw discussion in a roundtable manner, we do this knowing that there are many others going through this, and we hope that sharing our experiences may help you with your journey.
If you enjoy our videos and our content, please show us some love by hitting the like and subscribe and the notification bell to be notified what new videos are out. And today we are talking about traumas.
Yes. If the dark night of the soul isn't scary enough as it is and tough enough as it is, you go through all your traumas that you've been carrying throughout your life, that you've put aside.
Yeah. Some might be hard, but they still need to be addressed, because if you don't address them, they will re there will be a point of time where something more um chaotic or dramatic, or I don't know what word to use for this. Something will occur for you to actually face it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
there'll be
trying
a
to say.
trigger maybe.
Yeah, trigger. That's yeah.
And I think what I would refer to as the ultimate trigger is what brings everyone into the dark night of the soul. And the interesting thing is, we come into the dark night of the soul, and part of it is facing our traumas. But in some cases, I don't know if you went through this, but there were some instances where I actually welcomed it because I was so tired from battling with the particular trauma or putting it to the side to deal with one day. It was just tiring, and it was just time to deal with it. So some you'll welcome and some you'll be like, holy shit, no way. But yeah, you kind of don't have much of a choice.
Yes, I agree with that, because you have to welcome it, because if you really want to like deal like heal from it, you have to welcome it and see what comes through it, and then that way you can acknowledge and move past it, and also forgive. Forgiveness is a big part, so forgive yourself from all those experiences and whoever else was involved.
Yeah, if there's
Um,
other people you need to forgive or something you need to let go of. I know in one of my books that I wrote back in 2018, which was um, interviewing people who'd gone through some kind of sexual assault. And a lot of them talked about the power of forgiveness, of forgiving the person that perpetrated them. And what was interesting is that all of them said they wouldn't change a thing because the whole journey, as horrific as it was at the time, got them to where they were now, where they were living arguably their best life. So it really put into perspective um, the power of forgiveness, and they went through their own dark night of the soul. It's very interesting read. The book's called Reaching for the Light, and if you put my name in, it should come up on all the major online bookstores and things like that. But it was such a profound thing talking about forgiveness. We actually filmed a discussion about forgiveness in the modern life. But what Dark Night of the Soul will teach you is that it's not the forgiveness isn't saying, you know what you did or what happened was okay. It's more for yourself, as we've discussed, I think, in a past video. It's about just letting go and letting yourself live again. Take away the wisdom from it and just move on.
Yeah, move on, learn from it. Most of it is learn from it. Experience. It's an experience, something to teach you for your life. And yeah, no matter what, there's no escaping from your traumas. And most of them will stem back to probably childhood, your younger self, your inner child. So and you might not even know what they are. So when they do surface, you can like analyze it in all angles and then, like try and break it down and find out why you do certain things. And
that's a very interesting point you make there with asking the right questions. There's two choices when dealing with traumas. You can either let it be menacing and bother you, and you can relive it all, or, and this is a great time to do it during the dark night of the soul, is you can start asking the question, well, what else could this mean? What other purpose could there be for me to have gone through this? What can I draw that I can utilize to move forward in a positive way in my life, So the questions you ask, I found for me, can make it a bit easier to go through that healing process of the dark night of the soul.
yeah, and like sometimes it can be like just something that it's like a habit of what you're doing in your life that you don't realize that you're doing because you've made it a part of you. And once you've acknowledged and realized and come to awareness of it, you can break that habit and break that chain and move from it.
You're right, because every behavior or every habit that we develop serves a purpose. And if a habit was born through a traumatic event, by acknowledging and facing that traumatic event and healing it means you may break some bad habits. And one of the most common bad habits, obviously, is some form of addiction, or it could be a personality thing where, you might have a short fuse of anger. And you've got that because it served as a good defense mechanism for you at an earlier stage in life where you went through something. So yes, it's also a great time for observation and reflection.
Yeah. And I find that once you start like healing all the traumas, there might be just more than one. There could be just two or three or more, possibly more. And the more you heal that, you feel free more. You more like you feel like you're not burdening yourself or hiding behind that mask anymore. And then once you've learned from those experiences and letting go and connecting with yourself, you can be also like a teacher to others that are going through similar experiences.
Yeah, and it's also the beginning of the healing process, and you begin to heal mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. It might take time. Yes, you'll need there's that word again, patience, bloody patience. But as we've known, the whole dark night of the soul is a lesson in patience. But we carry a lot with us, and sometimes we don't even realize all the traumas we carry. And I'm using the word traumas maybe a little bit loosely because it can refer to a time where someone called us a name. It was a one-off incident, but for some reason it stuck with us on a subconscious level. So it might be letting go of a little thing like that. but understanding why it affected you as well. Or it might be something bigger, like the people in the book who were, violated in arguably the worst way possible. Um,
Hmm.
it's your higher self, the universe saying it's time to take stock and heal some things for your growth, not just your physical growth, but mental and spiritual growth as well.
It's correct. And that way, by doing that, you can sort of like move forward and find peace in yourself and shine. Like you can shine who you really are because that's not affecting you anymore.
Mm,
It's made you stronger and wiser and yes, yeah,
yeah.
stronger.
Um, and look, some of the things that work for me is certainly we've said it in quite a few videos. Journaling is a big one. Reframing your questions to more inquisitive, curious questions that can hopefully shed some light on, the more positive purposes or more spiritual purposes of what you've gone through. Talk to yourself and see what comes through. I find that if I talk to myself just before I go to bed and then sleep on it, things come through in time. Have a notebook next to your next to your bed. So if you wake up in the middle of the night with a thought or a revelation or realization, you can write it down and look at it the next day. These are just some things. Obviously, talking to someone.
Yeah,
You
talking to
know,
someone. You might have even a memory that pops up, and then you can analyze that and ask more deeper questions. If you can talk to your parents, ask them questions, like, or your siblings or
hmm,
friends. Like, oh, how you were as a child, what behaviors, what actions, that kind of thing, and then that way you can go more deeper and find more more answers and more questions to analyze.
hmm.
Yeah.
The main thing is go easy on yourself. It will be intense at times. It will be hard, scary, dark. But guess what? You get through it. That's I don't know if it's an irony, but from the perspective of how it feels at the time you're going through it, it might feel ironic, but you do get through it. The main thing, as I've always said, I think in some other videos, and I say to all my clients, to get through, you got to go through, right? But it's not a race. Time, as we know it, does not factor in. It doesn't exist. It happens when it happens. But the main thing is that you let it happen and you just get through it,
Yeah,
right? Look after yourself along the way. Be kind to yourself along the way. Um,
exactly. And like, there's a lot of things that can happen in a day, and you could be with someone or even just a new person that you've met, and there might be a trigger in that situation
mm,
that will teach you something
yeah.
that could relate to your traumas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you feel a trigger, instead of letting it take you over or letting the trauma take you over, get curious and say, why is that a trigger? What about that triggered me? And explore it. It's actually quite fun exploring your traumas. It's actually quite empowering. It doesn't make sense when I say it, but it is. Even the most difficult traumas that you may have to face, it's actually quite empowering to actually take a more explorative life coaching approach to it. Um, yeah, because I guess the implication is that if as I work through this and go through it, I'm going to come out better for it, and that is a positive, and it is also a truth. It's not just la di da.
that's true. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, sometimes when you do face those triggers, you're like, am I really like that? Or why did this happen? Or why does it happen to me? You might get those sort of things.
what can I learn from this? Let's
Yes, what
keep
can I
positive-ended questions if we can.
yes, yes. And I'm like, okay, this had to happen because that way now I'm aware of it. Now I know that there's something in that I need to learn to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
so we're good with that?
yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. Why don't you let us know how you work through your traumas? Any short tips that might help anyone else watching this? Would be great. Just in the comments down below. Would be awesome if you've got some tips and ideas.
Yeah, and
Uh,
subscribe and like and yeah, we're here
Tell
for
your
you.
friends.
Tell your friends, yeah, your family. And yes, we're here for you. One love.
All right. Peace be with you. Cheers. Bye.